that I did yesterday morning. But I had the privilege of attending a lecture here last night. And following that lecture, I spent quite a bit of time speaking to some students at the reception afterwards. And I was so motivated and inspired by the conversation. I must say, Mr. Chair, I was the last one to leave last night. And I thought I wanted to share the experience and the interaction I had with those youngsters. And we see two of them here today, one being your guild president and the gentleman in the back from the School of Computing and Artificial Intelligence, whose name eludes me. And while we were speaking and having that exchange, we debated, we went back and forth about what really is the purpose and the benefit of a university like this. And I challenged them. I said, you are here getting new knowledge. You are here at a place where you're able to challenge ideas. And so really you ought not to simply, maintain the status quo. We should try to solve problems, identify the problems of your generation. Think wildly. Let your imagination go crazy. Identify problems that persons would think are insurmountable and solve them. Think big. And I go back to a few years ago when I first met Dr. Curtis Charles. I'm going to call you out, Dr. Charles, in about 2020, 2021. And he was very passionate about artificial intelligence and the fourth industrial revolution and what the world could possibly look like and how we could position this university to be a center of excellence for computing and AI. And you fast forward 2 years and we had ChatGPT. And we're now 2 years beyond ChatGPT. We have generative AI. The point I'm trying to make is sometimes you have to see things beyond the horizon. And you have to position yourself and position your people and position your institution to teach and to train and to stimulate thought. Thought leadership, Professor. And as I spoke to those students last night, I said to them, I am privileged to have been born in a period where there was no internet. And some of the things that we live and we experience now, persons thought was sci-fi. And I was able, like I said, I was privileged to see that transition from a pre-technological society to where we are today. And I dare say I believe we're on the cusp of another transition from the regular web browser and the tablet and the mobile phone to AI. And so the challenge is therefore to all of our students, all of our teachers, all of our stakeholders to try to imagine what the future could look like. And that is where the value of this institution and others like it come in. We need to be able to recognize that the world within which we are living and within which we will live will be vastly different from the world we're living in now. And so, to go back to Dr. Charles and his narrative, and there were days when he was so animated about it that I was trying to find ways to end the conversation, but I couldn't, I was so engaged, even though I was quite busy. But he was quite passionate, and I remember he wrote a short paper that said, I don't remember the percentage, but a significant percentage of the jobs that exist today will not exist in 10 years. And the jobs that will exist in 10 years, 10, 15 years, because of AI and technology, will not exist today. And we see it happening before our eyes. I spoke to the students last night and I said, one of the challenges with applications like ChatGPT is that institutions are struggling to come to terms with how do we assess students properly in the age of technology. ChatGPT, please write me a 2,000-word essay that explains the impact of climate change in small island developing states like Antigua and Barbuda in 2023. And it gives you a perfectly written thesis. How do you assess students? And, I was told that there's some sort of committee being put together to see how you could perhaps curb the use of ChatGPT. And I say, it's nonsense. You can't stop it. What we need to do is use that as a challenge in terms of how do we assess students in an era of technological advances. When I was going to school, using the calculator was frowned upon. You must learn how to use your slide rule and this and that. You can't use the calculator. But why not? Why not? And so, while we're here, at the University of the West Indies Five Islands campus. I'm challenging you, Professor, you and your entire team, to continue to find ways to stimulate thought leadership. Continue to find ways to challenge our youngsters to identify and to solve the problems of their generation. But to do so, certain things must be in place. The infrastructure must be in place. And this is where the government comes into play. You know, I was quite happy listening to your annual report, or the annual report you presented. And it was quite good, so you can take the credit for it. But I'm even more excited, if I'm alive, to be able to listen to the annual report next year. Because given everything that's happening here at the University of the West Indies, given the build-out that is coming, and I'm pleased to say that we are now perhaps a few weeks away of selecting our final design consultant, who will take the master plan that has already been presented and transform that into a set of drawings that will lead into the construction of our new campus. And I fully expect ground to be broken on the construction of the campus this very year. So next year, Professor, when you give your annual report, I expect it to be pregnant with photos of the construction process here at Five Islands. To my left outside, we have the Five Islands Primary School. The first phase of the build-out of this campus will be the construction of a new primary school just to our left on the outside. The plans are done. All of the drawings are done. The tendering process for the contractor is now taking place. And I'm told that within a 2-week period, all the bids will be received. And so again, I think it was you who mentioned that when you dream big, you have to have the money to, oh, it was Dr. Cott in your presentation. Well, I dare say, we have our dreams, we have the vision, and we have the resources to build out that vision. And again, the Five Islands Primary School, which is the first phase of the construction of this project, is expected to start construction by the 3rd quarter of this year. And so, when we see things like this happening, we recognize and we appreciate the realness of our campus. It is no longer a small institution with a few students in a building or a set of buildings that was initially designed to be a secondary school. It is now being built out into what will become a state-of-the-art institution, a model university, a model campus that will be the envy of many. As a government, we continue to recognize the responsibility that we have to support this campus. And I'm very pleased that it is appreciated by yourself and others within the university family. We speak about our movement and the movement of some of the OECS countries in the Human Development Index. But to continue to sustain that upward trajectory, we have to have institutions like this properly positioned to drive the development trajectory of our country, to drive the thought process in our country. And so I'm quite happy to be here. I'm pleased to be here. It's a fantastic time to be alive. You speak of 91% of the students at the campus now being Antiguan and Barbudan students, which is normal given the newness of the campus. We have some limiting situations, dormitories and so forth that prevent more international students from coming. But when approximately 600, in excess of 600 of your students are Antiguans and Barbudans, and I'm sure when we look at the lifelong learning center that you have here, there are many more students, and I happened to eavesdrop in a conversation last night when I heard your director, your head of the lifelong learning unit, whisper to one of my colleagues that we have some exciting programs that will come on stream. I believe it may be in the area of telecoms or somewhere along the lines, given who the person was speaking to. It says to me that our country, our sub-region, and our OECS region is really on the cusp of greatness. The access is there. The opportunities are there. It is affordable. All we need to do is to want it. The final thing I want to speak of, or the final 2 things I want to speak of, I want to share an experience we had here at the campus 2 years ago. The Ministry of Education engaged in a STEM camp, a STEM summer camp for our children. PS was highly instrumental in ensuring that it happened. Dr. Charles and your team here supported us well, and we were able to use the university campus here to have this camp. Over 200 young persons, ranging from ages 5 to about 13 years old, came and participated in different programs: robotics, e-gaming, mobile app development, and so forth. And it was an overwhelming success. Last summer, we didn't have the opportunity to use the campus for issues of space and otherwise. And I met a parent and her child. The child is now 9 years old. And he came, he's been a participant in both camps. And when I met the parent, he said to me, "Oh, Mr. Minister, are we going to go back to the university again?" I said, "Oh, why do you want to go back to the university for the camp? Didn't you like the school we went to, St. Novel Richards Academy? It had a lot of space." He said, "No, but I want to go to university." And that was, when he said that, it impacted me in a major way. Because what it says to me is that experience, that 3 or 4 week experience at the campus here, already drilled into his mind, I am going to university. You have an application form. In his mind, I'm going to university. And the psychology of a person who, at that age, 9 years old, says, I'm going to university. Persons who may not have otherwise had the opportunity, from that young age, already has the ambition and the aspiration. And that is what we need to drill into the psyche of our people. Go to university. There are programs. You have short programs, a lifelong learning unit. You have exciting programs. School of AI and computing and artificial intelligence. You have traditional programs, a business school, your school of nursing, your teacher education. You have new programs, sports administration, sports management. There are programs. You will never find a more affordable university than this one right here, right now. For those persons in Antigua and Barbuda and in the immediate sub-region, you will never find a more accessible university than this one right here, right now. I'm tremendously excited about the programs that we have. I have a small built-in bias towards computing and AI, but I think generally the university offers exceptional programs that will impact significantly the development trajectory of this country and this region. I want to ask all of those persons who have anything to do with education, let us challenge the status quo. Let us challenge the thinking. Let us challenge ourselves. Easy problems are easy to solve. That's why they're called easy problems. Let's identify the difficult problems. Let's identify the problems that, our very existence needs solved. Climate change is one. We spoke last night again, and I'm going to wrap up now, Professor, because I realize everyone has been quite good on time, and so I don't want to be the spoiler. But, we spoke last night about languages. And I'm not a person that's very good on languages. There's some persons who are very proficient. And I said that, just off the top of my head, why is it that, an application can't be developed? So I put my earpods in my ear and I go and someone speaks to me in Chinese and I hear it in English. It's not so crazy. Why not? It's all about coding. Maybe it's done somewhere in the world already, I don't know. But identify challenges with our existence and solve them. Because you have the ability to do that, students. You're brilliant. You have brilliant teachers, professors, lecturers. You have the internet at your disposal, the internet being the great equalizer that it is. And I've said to them, when you have the opportunity, if you choose to go abroad and further your studies, you'll realize that you will sit in classrooms and lecture theaters with students from around the world, and they're not smarter than you are. They don't work harder than you are. Maybe they think broader than you do, but that can be addressed. And the final thing, Professor, humanity and human beings have a fantastic and amazing ability to weaponize anything. As good as something is, we find a way to use it as a weapon. Whether it is social media, whether it is the knowledge on how to split an atom, anything, we find a way to weaponize it. And so I would love to see, if possible, somewhere within the pedagogy, somewhere within the institution, something that talks about ethics. Maybe they exist already. I don't know, but I think we need to also look at ethics. We need to teach our people how to be good and responsible human beings, good and responsible citizens. Because with everything that you have, with all the technology, with all the new knowledge, with all the problem solving, if we have no ethics, we'll be on a road to self-destruction. So with those few words,